Hello everyone, I'm NTom64.
And I'm THD.
And welcome to the HellfireComms playthrough of Mega Man X4 for the Sega Saturn. This is one of THD's favourite games of all time, I believe. Isn't that right, Mo?
Yeah, a while back I actually made like a top 20 list of my favorite video games, and I'm gonna vaguely recall, because it's on Twitter and I ain't looking for it, that it was well within the top 10, or at the very least the top 15. I have very strong memories of this game. I don't have a ton of Mega Man X experience. I've beaten the first three with save states, so admittedly that's cheating. I beat X6, which is a crappy game, and I did that on the PlayStation, which made it even more fucking painful.
Oh, you poor soul.
But this is the one I remember the most. I actually played this over the summer. I borrowed this from my best friend at the time, and when school ended, I popped Mega Man X4 into the PlayStation that my other friend had given me, just loaded it up, and just let the good times roll. I still think this game really holds up. I actually revisited it not too long ago. I sucked at it and I didn't finish it because I'm terrible at managing my time, but everything is there. It's early enough to make it a very solid, well-made 2D platformer, but, you know, early enough to where 3D gaming wasn't as prevalent at the time to where this actually looked impressive enough, and there's a lot of stuff people remember about X4. This in particular, the anime stuff, and what we'll find out later to be the terrible dubbing. But, you know, you look past that, and there's a genuinely good game underneath the hood here. So that's why it's one of my favorite games of all time, really.
Yeah, I gotta say, the intro is pretty anime hype-tastic. This is why I like doing games with you, particularly, you know, your favourite ones, because there's a side of you that comes out that we very rarely get to see. One could call it the true THD experience, but I digress. We're gonna do a special run-through of Mega Man X4. You see, I never owned a Sega Saturn growing up. Hard to believe, I know, but I opted for the Sega 32X instead because, you know, I'm a Sonic fan and God knows I wasn't gonna, you know, get through the day without a bit of Knuckles fucking chaotix and such. Now, as you can see here, you can play as both Mega Man X and Zero. So, what our good friend and fellow HFC member Samurai Snake has done is, he recorded the game, by the way. He has recorded both playthroughs and essentially created a supercut of the whole thing. And if you allow me to click onto Skype over here, I can basically tell you how this is going to go down. We are going to be switching out between X and Zero, like from level to level. Certain cutscenes will be shown instead of others, though both intros, endings, and epilogues will be shown. And I believe we're also going to try and get the upgrades for both X and Zero. But the main thing you gotta, you know here is that it's going to be a Mega Man good time.
Yeah, I mean, like, I have to really appreciate the kind of commitment that Samurai Snake brought to this, because not only did he edit this all together, he kind of cut out a lot of the same parts you would typically face when you go through a Mega Man game, because y'all guys don't need to see, like, the same boss twice from, like, each character. That's ridiculous. He also has even neat little transition effects, which we'll see, which I really appreciate that extra mile that he went for this. So, dude, I am deeply grateful, you know, you spent your time recording this game.
Now, funny story, well, interesting story, mundane story, I guess. At the time we're recording this, not a day or so ago, I actually completed Mega Man X1 for the very first time. Because, you know, we went into Battle Network and I was going through blind because I hadn't played a single game in that series. So I wanted at least a little bit of, like, I don't know, Twitch memory, you know, gameplay. Experience before I went into this, because you know, it's one of Helldragon's favourite games. I didn't want to let him down. So, seeing this now, I just have to wonder, what the fuck happened in X2 and X3 to, you know, make this dystopian world a reality?
Oh man, there is actually a significant amount of lore that goes into Mega Man X, which is weird. Hello, Sigma, how you doing? We'll talk to you later. So, I guess I could try to explain it as we go, but basically, short thing you need to know is that this whole flashback right here, you know, Zero was created by Dr. Wily to do shit, and he's just getting flashbacks of his, you know, past experiences back there, and really, Mega Man X4 is a Mega Man game, but most of the story focuses on Zero. Not only his past stuff, but also stuff he has to do with what's going to be happening in this game, all the characters that are involved, and how he gets entangled in their relationships. X is honestly an afterthought when you kind of think about it, but I guess it's his series, so we gotta put him in there.
No wonder he looks so sassy there. Oh, I'm on the fucking cover and my name's in the tile, but it's not all about me, it's about goddamn Shadow the Hedgehog over there.
Well, this is actually the first time Zero is playable within the series. He was playable for brief sections in Mega Man X3, but here you can actually select him for a complete run. Now, you can't switch over once you pick your guy, so that's why, of course, Snake had to do the 2 runs and then splice them together, so it'll work out for the best.
Man, I haven't played this game before, but I did my homework, and by that I mean I spent an evening or 2 listening to the game's soundtrack, and oh my god, they are making use of that fucking CD audio right there.
Oh yeah, I love the soundtrack to this game. Like, all the music I feel is very memorable, especially here in this intro stage where, you know, you gotta get a feel for all of the controls, what each character can do, because depending on who you play as, Mega Man X and Zero both have vastly different playstyles. X is your traditional, you know, kind of stay in the back, shoot guys, use your charge gun an absolute lot, because your normal buster is a piece of shit. And he typically does easier on bosses. Zero, in contrast, has to kind of get in there and just slash the shit out of everybody. He has a little bit more trouble on bosses, but he's more of the fast, close-range melee fighter. It makes it feel like 2 completely different games in a way.
Ooh, Magma Dragoon, I know this guy. I guess that's just like osmosis from pop culture and whatnot.
Yeah, something like that. Magma Dragoon, hands down, is like one of my favorite characters in the X series, and we'll learn more about him later, but the big thing you gotta know about him is that he's basically Akuma. If you look at his neck, he actually has like the Akuma prayer beads going on, you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you fight him, because, spoiler alert, you fight him, by the way.
You just gotta ruin the whole playthrough now.
When you fight him, he actually does moves from Street Fighter, which is pretty great. I'll talk more about that as we go, but basically the whole thing here is that Sky Island, this Sky Lagoon is being crashed down, you know, to the city below. And as we'll find out, it's heavily implied that another party is responsible.
How about that? You like that shit?
Oh yeah, I'm loving that. Like I said, I really love the miles Snake went to bring this playthrough together, and just little transition effects just kind of spice it up for me.
Okay, now we're switching over to Zero, who hacks and slashes his way through the stages, and all his, like, abilities that he gets from, like, the Mavericks and whatnot that you defeat throughout the course of the game have crazy Japanese names, so I'm just going to apologize in advance if I mispronounce any of them, because you know it's going to happen at one point or another.
Instead of special weapons, he gets special moves, and they can all be performed with button combinations, making him like a very fast, you know, kind of super offensive, crazy character, if you know what you're doing. We won't really be able to get to this, I think, but he was also the star of the Mega Man Zero series, which takes place chronologically after Mega Man X, and just like, that's just too much to get into right now. I don't even know how much I'll be able to explain that series, but just know that that's a thing that happens.
Iris. Yep, there's a bit more of that pop culture osmosis sinking in. I'm remembering back to the days of ye old YouTube, and certain cutscenes are floating back into my mind.
Don't worry, we'll get to that soon enough. First up, I gotta say, when they are talking to each other, I love the 90s, like, action lines going on in the background. It's so pointless, and yet it's so iconic of this game. I love it.
Well, I mean, the art's, like, nice enough already. They didn't need to go that extra mile, but whatever, you know, I'll deal with it. You know, a little bit of extra quality goes a long way. Oh no, warning! Warning! Danger! Danger!
It is implied you're about to fight a boss. I love this theme, and as I listened to the Sega Saturn's presentation of it, I noticed the sound remix is slightly different. You know, that's an interesting little tidbit there.
I think they've like added a few bits here and there, just to like the audio and visual presentation, but don't quote me on that. I'm not some kind of Mega Man X4 professor. What do you take me for?
This guy is pretty easy. I mean, even as X, you can crush him pretty fast. He's just a basic intro boss, but he looks pretty nice. Huge, you know, attack radius, that kind of thing. Just kind of get into the action a little bit.
Looks like a wolf, that's a plus.
And this is a character that I think you're familiar with now that you have played Mega Man Battle Network 6.
I prefer his Battle Network 6 design, to be quite honest with you.
Okay, I'm not going to deny that. I think it's a really cool design. But I really like how everything plays out in this game between him and Iris and Zero. We'll get more into that as we go on. But it creates a nice little contrast to the main storyline of this game, if you will.
We saw a character near the beginning called General, so is it implied that there's like different ranks of these special robots? Like there would be a commander as well?
I believe a general is the highest ranked guy, and colonel is like the second in command from what little I could tell about the Repliforce, this organization that they're going up against.
Mm-hmm.
Watch out, I'm gonna talk at you even slower now, Colonel.
My speed lines will defeat your speed lines, Colonel.
They're just like shooting magic missiles at each other in the background, that's what it looks like.
Indeed. Alright guys, that'll do us for the intro of Mega Man X4. We still got a long ways to go until this threat is put out to pasture, so please join us next time, where we begin the game good and proper. Goodbye for now.